Come on in, welcome to my home. Today we are doing my front porch, and I'm not outside right now because part of the reason that I'm not there is because of my front porch. Alright, let's talk about all porches and everything before you start anything when it comes to decorating, accessorizing, and all that fun stuff. As you know, I've planted my porch and I've done the irrigation system. If you want to click that card up there, that will show you those videos. But the big thing is, we all want to decorate our porch. We all want our porch to seem welcoming and inviting, and we need to think before we move. Here's why. Alright, one thing is my porch is very small. It is only 6 feet by 12 feet. Small. Then off that porch we have an entryway which goes into the house. We have a sitting area, well, what will end up being the sitting area, and that's about it. But there are other things to consider when decorating a porch. And the first thing to consider is not actually the porch. Stop that. Stop that right now. The first thing to consider is, what can you see from inside? Because one of the first things that I was going to do, as I've done years before, is I was going to put a nice planter on my table, which is in front of my window because, well, it's like one of the only places it can go. The problem with that is quite simple. It would be in front of my window. And then when I sit in my living room looking out the window, the plant will grow into that view. That's a problem. That's a big problem. And then the other thing is, what exactly am I trying to accomplish? While I like my neighbors are great, I don't necessarily want to see them all the time. However, I also don't want to completely, totally block that view all the time. So I know I needed something that would be able to be moved back and forth, so then it's curtains. Cool. Some sort of blind thing. I knew I didn't want to roll up blind because that's a whole nother issue which we will get into. But I knew that I wanted something there. I did not want anything that would block the view going forward because it's a really nice view. And like I said, my living room is on the other side of that window, and once I block it, I block all the light from my living room. That is something to think about. Think about the room that is behind whatever it is that you've got. Maybe you have a room that you can block the view and that's no problem. That's cool. And the other thing, which is really, really interesting. In the last few weeks, we have had some really big storms. And I mean some really big storms. And they have blown through. One minute it's nice and sunny, the next minute we have this huge big storm, and suddenly it became one of those, well, while I'd love to have some accessories out there, I don't want to have to rush out of my house, grab up my accessories before the storm hits. And a lot of these storms have been hitting at night, and if you know anything about me, which if you're part of the Patreon, you've seen my vlogs, so you know that I sleep like a baby, which that sentence doesn't even make a lot of sense, but that's a whole nother issue. I sleep really well. What happens is, if the storm comes up in the middle of the night and I have a bunch of loose accessories on the porch, they're going to blow away. They're going to blow around. I'm going to be finding things all over the place. So if I put something out there, it either needs to be able to come in quickly or it needs to be secured. I'm going for the secured part. I will bring stuff out there as I need it, as I use it, and then when it's not being used, I will bring it back inside. Trays are wonderful for that, and that's something good. The other thing I'm going to tell you about is glass. I am very, very, very much against having glass out on a porch. Tell you why. It can break, it can fall, well, the storms come through, knock the glass thing off, so that's a problem. So I'm using mostly plastic out there if it's going to stay out there, be out there, that kind of thing. But I'm like really, really against glass. Here are some problems specific to my porch. Not just every porch, but mine. When it rains, the rain comes from the east and from the west, sometimes from the south, which means that everything just comes right on to the porch. It becomes an absolute mess because it gets really, really wet out there. I thought about putting a rug down, and then I'm just like, nah, I don't think so. So we're going to stick with, easy things that I can deal with, easy things that I can take care of, and something along those lines. And it needs to be cheap. I don't want to spend a whole lot of money to do this, because my first thought was, well, I'll get curtains, I will get outdoor fabric, and that's kind of expensive, and I'm not 100% certain of what outdoor fabric I want or will like or really need, so I'm going with what I have. And what I do have is I have PVC pipe. The PVC pipe was from the earlier projects that I had done laying around the house, so what did I do? I drilled holes in it, put zip ties in it, put cup hooks up in the rafters, and then I can put my curtain material, which is extra material that I had laying around. I just sewed a pocket to it. Now, if you don't want to do any sewing, you can use the whole bed sheet thing. If you click that card right there, it'll take you to that video where I show you how you can make really easy curtains out of bed sheets. And it's just 2 cuts, and then you just slide it over the pole, and you're ready to go. So the curtains are taken care of. They will need to have tiebacks, simply because if a storm does come up, I don't have to rush out there. I can then just, I can keep them tied back if there's a breeze, that sort of thing. Also, with having them, and this is what the big thing is, with having them on zip ties, so I can very easily take them down if I need to. If I know that we're going to have a really big storm with lots and lots of wind, I'm just going to unhook the curtains and bring them inside, put them in the garage, we're all good. The other thing I will tell you is I am right on a walkway. So people go past my front porch all the time, and they're right there, like right there at the front porch. The sidewalk is practically, it's attached to the front porch. While I'm not expecting people to be dishonest and steal things, it still is a possibility. That is something to remember. If you put out all sorts of antiques and those sort of things, and you're right there in a walkway, it could be a problem. It could be a big problem. So my front porch needs to be simple, easy, not cluttered, not have a whole bunch of stuff in it, but it needs to be relaxing. And then the other thing is, mine is not a daytime porch, because right now it is 10:02 a.m. It's beginning to get hot. I face south, so the sun comes straight towards me. It's not a place you want to be during the day. In the morning, you've probably seen that video where I talk about my morning routine. In the morning, it's really nice as the sun's coming up. In the evening, it's really nice to sit out there. But during the day, during the midday, it is not a cool place. The porch keeps my living room nice and cool because it shades it. But it's not a cool place to be out there. And I don't want to, block the view, as I've said. The other thing to think about is I have a community swimming pool not much further from me. That's what's on the other side of me. So that way I can have my curtains up there and be able to slide them back a little bit and block out some of that view. I mean, these really are easy things to think about, but they are things people always forget to think about. They always forget to think about, when am I going to use it, how I'm going to use it, and are there things which should or should not be out there? Like I said, I'm going with the easy, cheap way to do this. And the other part about this is I haven't done it yet. So let me go out there, set everything up. I'm not even going to bother with my curtains need to be ironed. I'm not going to bother with that because we're supposed to get light sprinkles tomorrow. And the water will help iron out the curtains. They will. But let me get this set up and I'll be right back. Alright, the porch is all done, and it's simple, I'm happy with it, and it isn't going to look like this all the time. I mean, most of the time, I will, of course, the pictures that are on, the picture and the glasses won't stay out there, that was just for staging. The lanterns are plastic, so they can, and battery operated, so they can stay out. But realistically, the planter boxes, those will grow in quite quickly. The plants will fill in. So there's not a lot that I had to do, and if we have a storm, there's not a lot I have to worry about. I can close the drapes so that way I can get some privacy in here. It will still blow around, but we don't have to worry about that too much right now. If a big storm were to come up, I could just quickly take them down. I just tied them up with some jute rope or jute cording, and that was it. I mean, this is a simple project that I did with things that I already had. And you can do this too, no problems. It just took a few minutes just using what I had. And like I said, it's hot out here. Like right now, it is probably in the 80s. I'm hot, it's sunny, the sun is coming directly in on me. So this isn't a place that I'm going to use as in, all the time. Now the cool part about this is, from inside I can still see. I can still see somewhat, outside, see what's going on without it being completely blocked off, and it will also not block any breezes that I would get if by chance we were happen to get a breeze that wasn't hot. I did not do any of the weeding around here because our homeowners association is supposed to do that. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. But it's comfortable. It's a nice place to sit out here in the early morning or in the evening. It's private. The curtains make it feel softer. It makes it feel a little bit more cool, more refreshing, and just easier. You can do this. You can do this easily with things that you have around the house without having to dash around in a storm to grab everything up so that it doesn't blow away or all that stuff. I will take the lanterns in before anything happens, like majorly happens, but everything else I'll leave out, so that's something. The only thing which is breakable out here was the ceramic, what is that? I guess it's a ceramic baking platter that I had that it had already cracked. I'd been using it for plants, but it matched the green color, and I wanted it to be green so it would sort of be cool, and you get a lot of the green just looking outside, so I wanted it to feel like it's all planty and everything. And if you follow me on my social media, on Instagram and on Twitter, you will see this evolve as the plants grow in. Maybe I'll add more plants, but I'd love to hear what you did for your porch, and I'd love for you to, if you post these things on like Instagram, tag me in them so that way I can see what you did and how you did it and what ideas you got. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, if you want to get a shot of hear more about the behind the scenes and more about what exactly it is that we have coming up, you get these videos early, so that way feel free to join my Patreon. If you are not interested in that, remember to like and share this video. This really does help with the YouTube algorithms, and I hope I get to see you the next time you stop by.